Greetings from Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center. This is Leo Bray. Visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. Check out the schedule of daily offerings on Zoom. Times you can meet us in person in Palm Springs at Riccardi Park and stop by the tip jar to make contributions when you can. Today we're going to be doing like a tutorial, shorter segment, maybe 30 minutes, and talk about a common pose in a lot of flow classes, upward facing dog. This is a prone or pronated heart opener that we do, well, for example, as part of the sun salutation flow. And it's a pose that we find is often misunderstood. People will think they're doing it when they're not, or to put it in a more constructive way, doing it in ways that aren't as beneficial for your body or your practice as ways that I'll show you. So I'll show you some what to do, some what not to do, what is upward facing dog and what isn't. Sometimes we shorten it from upward facing dog to just upward dog or up dog. It's all the same pose, just going by different versions of the name. So one sun salutation to show you where this posture comes into that particular flow, because sun salutations are a common element in a lot of flow classes. We start into the mountain pose. Inhale, reach arms up overhead. This could be out to the sides or out in front. Exhale, fold forward. I go with soft knees to square the back. Inhale, lift halfway, back parallel to the ground. Exhale, fold. We step back to plank. Plank might look like that, or like this. Hips coming down in line with shoulders and knees, where the knees are raised or lowered. Exhale and lower down. Now on the first one, we'll often go all the way to the ground. On other ones, we might come down to here. And then we come to our heart opener. So I'll start low. And we use different heights of heart openers. So these are all heart openers. Whether I'm here, we're here, or here. So as the height of the body changes, the heart is open in any of those. So this is upward facing dog. From down here, any of these lower heart openers with the hands planted, tops of the feet resting on the ground, are versions of cobra. So down here we call it low cobra or baby cobra. And a cobra is anything in this range. So now chest and belly are on the ground, now belly. Now the belly's lifted, thighs were on the ground, now knees. This is still cobra. And when it's just hands and feet, then it's upward facing dog. The chin is lifted. So things we don't want to do. We don't want to crank the neck back like this and cause compression. We don't want the lower back to collapse and the pelvis to drop too low like that, because that's compression in the lower back. So we're feeling for a continuous curve of about the same degree. We open the heart here. So common things that you see folks doing in class, we got here from plank. So sometimes you see people doing this and they're opening their heart, but they have the feet engaged still. That's not upward facing dog. Onto the tops of the feet, letting the legs disengage, the backs of the legs disengage. So come into our upward facing dog from the ground like this. Hands are right by the shoulders, elbows are drawing in towards the body to make more safe, stable, and efficient use of the triceps. And it's helpful to inhale when lifting up into our heart opener. So we check in with the back. We're feeling for opening of the heart because it's the heart opener, but we don't want to cause strain anywhere. So when do you do upward dog? When do you do cobra? Listen to your lower back. So I'll often cue when coming from here, press into your hands, inhale, lift your head and chest to the height that's right for you. Listen to your lower body, particularly to your lower back. So on any given day, your lower back can be anywhere in that comfort range. And if this is your heart opener down here, if this is what feels good for your lower back today, that's where you are. Don't force yourself up higher. So I'm going to start over to continue through a full sun salutation because I cut that off after saying I was going to do a sun salutation and went into the breakdown. So the whole flow goes like this. This might give a better idea of where the upward facing dog fits into the sequence. So flow down as far as upward dog. Talk about it some more. Break it down some more. Talk about different things you can do. So this movement, we call this Chaturanga Dandasana when we lower down like this, four-pointed staff pose. Inhale, bring the heart forward. Now, people have different ways of doing this. I have learned as I bring my heart forward to roll onto the tops of my feet like that. That took me a while to do. And I was advised not to focus too much on making it happen and just let it evolve. So the other way to do this is to turn one foot over and then the other, and then bring the heart forward. And after a bit, you'll find starting to lower is friendlier to the body. So we don't want the feet engaged like this as we come up. That's not the same kind of opening. So you can eventually roll over the toes, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with turning the feet over and then coming up into your heart opener. But this is not upward dog. This actually doesn't feel very good. But it might be one of those things that as you come into it, you're just not thinking about your feet. It's a heart opener, so you're thinking about your heart. And that's how the sort of unintentional variations can creep into our practice. And, you might be doing it in a way that's not so beneficial and not even realizing maybe the person you're following didn't cue anything about the feet. Maybe you weren't looking at the teacher's feet. You were just looking at her heart as she came into the posture. So it's helpful sometimes have a mirror or a camera and screen that you can look at the posture as you come into it or after you've come into it and sort of check in. I really like to make my practice more about feeling into my body, but it can be helpful to see what's going on. So we don't want a straight spine, we want a curve. But as I said, we don't want to dump too much into the hips. So nice, this is a long continuous curve. I can feel it better than I can see it. I have some glare on the screen. We don't want this, we don't want that. Because this is a lot of compression in the lower spine, right above the sacrum. That feels long curve. Remember that your neck is part of your spine. Nice long continuous curve makes for the best part for the health of the spine, for the opening of the heart space. Fantastic water. It's hot day in Cozumel. So it's just 10:45 a.m. here. The hottest part of the day is just to come, and I am mostly in the shade. So you don't have to practice upward facing dog. That's important to remind folks of. There is nothing wrong with doing cobra in every single sun salutation you do. And maybe it's a very low cobra, You might have things going on in your shoulders. Maybe you don't have the wrist flexibility or strength. And when you're not there yet, it's hard to tell if you're lacking in the strength or lacking in the flexibility. You don't know what those feel like. Maybe you can't differentiate that. Just know that it doesn't matter if you continue the practice. And daily is best. Repetition is so powerful, so helpful. Over time, things evolve to different degrees too. Don't aim for looking like some Instagram you follow, some video you saw, some picture in a textbook. Feel into your body. Remember that transitions can be different. Not everything has to be fluid and continuous. And go at your pace. Maybe the person you're following takes shorter breaths than you do, maybe longer breaths. And just like the transition with the feet here can be fluid, like this, or broken down into steps, like this. Going up, the transition too could be different. Maybe you roll over your toes, like that, or maybe from here, you re-engage one foot and then the other, and then go back up. So that's where that open heart feet engage comes in. It's a transitional movement. Another thing you can do is you can have yoga blocks under your hands through a whole sun salutation. And this gives you, we like to say, it brings the ground closer to your hands, or bring the floor closer to your hands. And as you press into your hands and lift your heart and lift your gaze a bit, there's more clearance between your body and the ground. So blocks under your hands might be what brings you from Cobra to upward facing dog, if you want to work towards that. Maybe you just want to let the flow go and see how things evolve for you. But sometimes it's fun to play with a target. As I said, my practice is more about feeling into things and seeing where they end up. Some folks really prefer to have that target, to have that, I'm reaching for this. And it's okay to do that as long as you remind yourself it's okay if you don't get what you're reaching for. It's okay to not quite get to the target. The journey is more important than the destination. The direction is the most important thing, the intention. So there's a breakdown on upward facing dog, some different ways to look at it, some different ways to get there, some different ways to get to the next part of the sun salutation. And remember that there is nothing wrong with a cobra of any height. We will be doing more of these short focused segments. We've been adding in more short segments, and folks have let us know that they really like some focused work like this. So look for future videos where we focus on other transitions and other postures. You can look forward to a segment on plank, segment on downward facing dog, segments on balancing, inversion, lots of other short focused things to enjoy. As well as Zoom attended, Zoom class won't go away. The YouTube videos will not stop. We'll keep doing these things, but this is part of the shift that's going on. As more and more folks get vaccinated, more and more in-person activities are taking place. People's comfort around these things, meetings in person, is increasing. And also, people's Zoom fatigue is increasing. People are less drawn to getting together online because, well, they've been doing it as their primary thing for over a year, right? So we'll still be here. I'll still be on Zoom. I'll still be on YouTube. You won't see me in Palm Springs teaching classes. But we have lots of great teachers. We've even got some new folks So if you're in that area, please do go check them out. Meet up at Riccardi Park. And again, details online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. And also don't forget that tip jar. We're not charging fees for classes in person or online. We appreciate your contribution. And I'll see you next time. The light within these seas and honors that same light within each of you. Namaste.